So donkey's ear, donkey's ears. Actually, it's not donkey's ears.
At least it's not mud, and no rocks came flying out as well.
This has had very little styling. This has just had damage.
See it there? There's white dots, white powder. I may just put some wire on those back ones as well.
Hi, yeah, it's Xavier, and welcome to my bonsai retreat. And do you know what? Today is a challenge. This juniper, one of my first. I've had it for donkey's years. And if anyone can tell me how long a donkey's ears is, is it a donkey's ear? Donkey's ears. Actually, it's not donkey's ears, it's donkey's ears, isn't it? Never thought about that before, eh? It's had all this dead wood stuff when I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't. There's some healthy foliage up here, and up here, and I can't decide whether I cut loads off or not. And I keep learning this, and you know, Candice is one that's gone on and on about this. There's no point trying to restyle your juniper if the thing is telling you, I'm not healthy enough. And this isn't healthy enough. I may well look at keeping it there, or I may end up removing loads and going for literati. But before I make that decision, I need to get it in some decent soil. And it hasn't been out of there in, oh, we said it, donkey's ears. So let's get out of the pot and find out just how bad it is in there. And actually, just to give you a bit of perspective, what I talk about with the sort of growth I'll be looking for, this one. Now, we all know about this one, and this is going to get subject to repot, slightly different angle. Probably remove this. But here, all the branches, loads of extensions, loads of growth. This one, I can happily work on or style. I'll also put it into a new soil, but this one is responding and is healthy, so I could happily do my restyling on this and feel confident that, you know, as long as I don't do too much, it'll recover me nicely. Do you know what? I cannot get over just how much that open space is now that I've had the trees removed. So anyway, let's go back to the other one and find out just how bad the soil is, because I haven't dagged that up in 5-6 years, and I don't suppose I knew what I was doing when I did that. I know. Don't know what I'm doing now. And first thing, if anyone wants to point it out, best time to be doing this is in the early part of the morning, which is why it's 2:30 in the afternoon and the sun's blaring down. And the obvious reason we shouldn't be doing it now is the reason why I've got this. We don't want to cook what roots there are. But time is running by, and this isn't the only juniper I've got to deal with. So, what can we tell about it? Well, there's actually a reasonable mat of roots there. It's not ailing. You know, when you look at things and you think, oh gosh, there's no roots on there at all. There looks like to be a good ball of it. Now, as I say, this, well, I'll find out now just how good my last repot was like. Looking at it, the soil certainly isn't as bad as it could have been. I obviously wasn't completely half-witty when I did this repot last time, and as I say, it's got to be 5 years. Actually, overall, I'm going to take over this top layer of roots, or the top layer of weeds and stuff. At least it's not mud, and no rocks came flying out as well. So I'm quietly hopeful. I really haven't got a clear idea on style, but I think with this one, the one major action I'm going to do, and you know, this is potentially, well, it's got to be a good 20 years old, if not older than that. So I'm going to count this in terms of, it's not the healthiest, hasn't got loads of growth. I might see if I can work out a potting angle, but basically all I'm going to do is try and get it into some much nicer soil. And as I say, with a juniper, we're ideally looking at a pumice based, nice free draining. I've done a bit of teasing or combing the roots out, and the first thing I'll say is I didn't do a bad job last time, because most of these roots are radially extending
Not very twisty, which is a good technical bonsai phrase. I'd say the soil's a little bit claggy, and that's going to be the biggest mistake I made. And going by how I was back then, I didn't really fully comprehend the advantages gained by using pumice and other soils like that. So what I'm going to do is just blunt my scissors basically. That's why. Yeah, always make sure you remove all your wire, otherwise all you're going to do is destroy your clippers. There is actually a very good mat of roots on this, and they look pretty healthy too. What I do need to do is make sure I've got holes down, right down through these spaces here, so that I can make sure soil, that we can open up these areas for greater percolation near the centre, or where the sheen would be on this tree. So that's the only thing. Maybe there's not everything getting in there. That'll do for now. There could be quite a nice tree in there actually. There's nice movement. There's some taper going in there. We've got potentially a decent structure there, and that could look well. And you know, I'm not averse to taking this branch off, potentially dropping this down, so could be a front there, not there, could be a front in there maybe, but either way, that root, I don't want that root. Don't know where it is in that pile, so I'll just do that. Okay. The other root is possibly this one here. There's actually something beneath it, so we're going to more. As I say, I won't be taking any foliage off, but then you could argue there's not an awful lot of foliage to take off. So, what do I pot it in, I hear you ask me? Exactly. You know I've invested in pond baskets, and because this is nowhere near a styled tree, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in a pond basket. Okay, change of plan. I realised that one, the pond basket was about the size of my house, and two, when you actually look at it, that's already got a very nice radial root structure about it. So all I'm trying to do is just continue to healthen it up, so to speak. So I'm going to use this plastic training pot. Probably put it that way, I suppose. That'll do. Again, the mix, heavy pumice based, and I think this one is the Kaizen number 3 as well. So much bigger particles. And remember, I did holes in there, so I want to be filling. If you look at this particle size there, and they're nearly 5 to 8 millimeters, some of those bits of pumice. Usual thing. So continue to work around. As I say, those holes that I dug in the surface there, you've got to make sure you get all soil down there. This is going to need a really good water. I really think this is going to respond well, just for want of a decent, very decent free draining soil. And I'll say it again, we can't all, well, it's taken me until now before I've started to really afford to get pumices and stuff like that. You know, it doesn't stop you growing good bonsai just because you haven't got pumice. So I don't want people to feel as though I'm saying, oh, without pumice and all that, and become that group of bonsai enthusiasts who insist on everything needs to be the right soils and stuff. I'm just fortunate now that I can probably take advantage of it. And which will be good, because I'm going to get to see myself firsthand whether it does actually make a big difference. To be fair, having seen Alex Braunton's trees, I think it does. And even the chemistry and the science tell you that it does. Okay. So that's it for now. I'll keep this in a pretty cool place for the next couple of weeks. But what I will ask and challenge is, if I spin this round, I'm pretty satisfied by the way the angle is, that, I mean, there is, I suppose there's, no. Truthfully, this is pretty well going to be the upright potting position, I think, for it. And I'll sort of challenge you experts out there. You tell me, or show me with your marker pens, what branches you may or may not take away, or if there's something about it you just think this is what I should do. I've got some ideas, to be honest. Not least of all, dead wood is a bit of an issue, but I think the key is this needs to become a healthy tree with lots and lots of foliage. So there we go. Okay, now that's one big action that's happened with this, and although I probably took away at least a quarter of the roots. Nice root structure in there, so hopefully with the much better soil quality, we're going to see some pretty good results through next year. And I think truthfully that's when any styling decisions might get made. I mean, I can muck about with shortening gins and stuff like that, but let's be honest, that's neither here nor there, is it? So I think we're going to go on to another of my junipers, which also needs repotting, and again, which I might be asking you for ideas on. Yeah, the second one we're going to be looking to repot is this one. Now this has had very little styling. This has just had damage, lots of damage inflicted on, and every time a bit of damage happened, I ginned it. But there's an interesting, very, very interesting thing developing here, which I like. What I like most is the growth. It's a very healthy tree up top, lots of berries on it. So maybe there's a front there, wiring stuff down. But today, as this is pretty well juniper repot, I'm going to do a repot on this. Because again, with the roots on this, I'm really not quite sure. So I'm also not quite sure what pot to go for either. That's quite deep, so we shall see. On there, I've released the wire on the bottom. Now, what I like about this one is we've got a nice spread of roots. What I'm liking most about this is the, if you look, see it there? There's white dots, white powder. Now in the early days, white powder, nice white root tips, white powder. And there's just that white sheen on the roots. Now, back in the day when I was just a bonsai boy, I thought that meant there was some sort of mouldy fungus on it, and I thought that was a bad thing. Well, obviously, as we know, that's not. That's a beneficial fungus, and the roots need that for the sort of all the chemical stuff needed to take all the chemicals and stuff and whatever, transfer it into all the nice stuff that the tree likes. What I need to do is try and keep a lot of that. So, having seen that, I'm going to take off all these top weeds. There's also a big bulge here, and I want to investigate that further. And I've also got to be very, very aware that although the sun is also baking me, it's also going to be having a similar effect on the roots. And also I realise, probably why this is doing so well, is it looks like I've planted it straight into Akadama. So I will mix some of that straight into the soil that I'm going to be using. But I do want to resolve what's going on up here. Probably I should have started this maybe a week or so earlier. August, September in the UK is what Harry Harrington's talking about. Okay, I want to be careful that I don't, because I'm actually taking away quite a lot of roots as well. The hole into the middle. Okay, so we've definitely got, looks like we've got a twisty-wisty root up here. Okay, well, I haven't got an abundance of pots. Small stuff, yes, but something for this, I've just got to be rooting around. So I know this is a relatively low-priced orange pot, but I think it'll do the job. So you're looking for the roots to go into places that I want them. Okay, wiring, bringing stuff down, around. Now, as you've probably guessed, I'm not very good at pots, at picking colours and pots, and I tend to jam stuff into stuff that I've got available. I can see why I went for the deep pot, because of the way the roots were. Not convinced about that potting angle at all. Okay, I'm just thinking I can put some wire and bring that down. So I'm going to get some wire on that. Okay, so what I've done is put a bit of a top dressing of just sphagnum. I haven't got any mix made up for moss and that, but that will at least give an opportunity for any of the top roots that were exposed to at least have a chance to survive. Yeah. So I've put some wire. These are already quite brittle from where wire's been before, but what I might just try and do, bring it from the front there, we now bring this around and down. Oh, we've got the planes coming. So that's giving that sense there now of something, and we'll see how this grows. Sense there of a top, maybe bring it around. That already works 100% better, I think. I may just put some wire on those back ones as well now. Okay, so we're there. Now what we want to do is just try and bring that down and around. This is quite rangy, I know, but I'm trying to create that. I almost want more to come down here, so we just need this to go around the back a bit. Just wondering whether it comes up higher. I've got something down here which you might want to just drop. Okay, I'm just trying to create more of a spaced out canopy, to be honest. I'm not sure yet whether it's going to come down, but at the moment, nice even. I can do trimming later on. Okay, I think I'm happy with where I've gone for there. I'm not going to go any further. Okay, I have no doubt there's loads of you out there going, no, you could do more, you could wire more, bend it this way, that way. This is a slow process. Juniper for me is my my learning species still. I can see that I could do bends more. I'm still not 100% sure on just how brittle that is. So what I wanted to do was to even up the canopy and then watch what grows. I could play around with some of these shoots, but truthfully, it's gone through a repot, major bit of work. This is, I know, at least 15 years old.
So I want the roots to recover. I've done a little bit of bending with wire that I know, with branches that I know are a bit supple, only to sort of give it an even spread across the top. As stuff grows, it may be that I'll be able to bring it down, do stuff with these, thin it out. But I don't intend to do any thinning out, so give it a spin. Yeah, it looks a bit messy, but you know, there's lots of room for different things. I know we've got a big lean back there. I'm sort of tied a bit by just how straight those roots were there. So again, this is more about, I think with a tree like this where you've got such a clear bend away that you can't do anything about, that's where it's very important to get your potting angle right, so that you know that doesn't become as apparent to you. And I'll bring pads up and maybe something further up here, or it may be that I'll end up removing a lot here, or removing stuff on this side, and it ends up becoming a literati. Again, if you want to get out there with your little sketch pads and blank bits off and all that sort of stuff, feel free. I won't touch this again until well into next year, so any ideas that come in, let me know. So, from Xavier, still very happy with what I've achieved, and that is to get 2 trees that haven't been repotted in at least 4 years, repotted into a decent, good, free draining soil. Some wire structure, the one before, really not sure where we're going with it. Over to you. All the best, happy bonsai, and God bless. Cheers. And I have cooked because I didn't put my sleeve on.